Did you know that global warming speeds up faster? Act quickly, let's go. Global warming is followed by climate change, and it can create deadliest and violent droughts or storms if all water continues to evaporate, forming an air from continuous droughts and storms. Please follow the Paris Agreement and it would increase temperatures up to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The global pressure will become weaker and weaker every year, if the greenhouse emissions will decrease faster down to 2% by decade. For example, let's explore this scenario. Global warming, storm climate, extreme drought to gain and lose all your ecosystem. Here's the graph shown here. Gain ecosystem, 15% and lose ecosystem, 85%. Due to global warming to evaporate water to air, if transferred, creates strong storms and droughts, forming a greasy balance called El Niño and La Niña, if the both two evaporated all water to air, as a long term of climate change, forming a strong storms that gain ecosystem or droughts that lose all ecosystem. So here's the graph again. Storms, when gain all ecosystem as meant before, is 30% and droughts, when lose all ecosystem as meant before again, is 70%. I hope the ecosystem is decreasing faster and faster every year. If all greenhouse gas effect has been disappeared, is possible, and if all carbon emissions disappeared, you will no longer stay calm, and it gets more worse every decade, and climate change will due to overpopulation, if polluted, and high pollution and greenhouse gas emissions problems, causing the toxic fuel to lose its oil and benzene, causing no fuel, and global collapse of climate change would cause millions of dollars in damage. If the El Niño drought, storms and greenhouse emissions causing climate change to sea level rising by 13 centimeters every year, if threatened, is possible. Now let's check the graph again. Storms, massive floods, drought, caused UV rays to rise or if all water evaporates to air. And hot wave, caused by global warming and climate change. Is possible that the strong and powerful storms, Category 5 hurricane, would flood and causing millions of dollars in damage that it can't fix due to continuous sea level rise, and it is too deep to constructors to drown, if possible, and sea level rise can cause global warming, causing a climate change that is balanced, that El Niño and La Niña global chaos, if threatened, that it may do faster global crisis, and climate change is possible to flood all overseas territories, France for example, and cities will actually flood every decade on this global scenario by global warming, that is, climate change.
Tô gravando. Chega de rodar, senão você vai cair. Tô gravando. Chega de rodar, senão você vai cair. Tô gravando. Chega de rodar, senão você vai cair. Tô gravando. Chega de rodar, senão você vai cair. Tô gravando. Chega de rodar, senão